Are you still lighting?
As he lights the cigar with the flame.
Do your impression, dude. That was great. You need to do it, Dave. Do it for the camera. Do it, Dave.
That's not an impression.
Yes, it is. Dude, you don't talk like that, bro. Yeah, but do you have an accent when you go when you're around your kinfolk and everything? Because my accent goes southern. When I'm around my kinfolk from Kentucky.
My dad's like, papito, ¿por qué? Más estúpido, papito, ¿por qué? That's how like when he yells at me in Spanish.
I don't know what poquito means. What does that mean?
Papito.
Papito?
It's like son.
Oh, okay. He's calling you a son. Well, it's your dad, so.
Yeah.
Okay. And your mom's Toto Odom and your dad's Mexican?
My mom's Mexican, Toto Odom.
Mom's Mexican.
Toto Odom's like right there on the border of Mexico.
Okay. Toto Odom, okay.
Oye, Jose in Puerto Rico from the Air Force. Oye, vato, ¿cómo estás? We got to stick together, eh?
I think it was the National Guard.
National Guard.
You suck, man. You suck, eh? Hey, vato!
You hear it? Get it. Hey guys, welcome back again to the Cut Light and Smoke podcast presented by Zeal Cigars, cigarsoapbox.com, and coming to you live from the Huddle Up Store studios in bright and sunny and particularly hot today, Phoenix, Arizona. I am joined by my two wonderful co-hosts. I got Part-Time Dave just to my left, probably you're right on the screen. He's in the middle of both JB and me, and JB is on the end. JB, tell the people what is going on.
What's going on?
Dude,
oh man, so much enthusiasm. That's about as much as you're gonna get from that kid right there.
Come on, Spicoli. Got to do something. Give him something to believe in. Give him something to believe in. Do your best impression of me that you possibly can. Ready, set, go.
Ooh, that's not a good idea.
I thought. I'm open for it.
You asked.
Oh,
Zinger. I don't know why you're sleeping. I ain't sleeping ever, Drew. I'm always awake. Actually, I went to bed last night at 8:30. I'll be honest with you.
Nah, he ain't sleeping.
8:30 last night. It was great.
He ain't sleeping. Just one time.
Yeah, I did. I've just fallen asleep. We were tasting bourbon, and the bourbon got to me.
That was the day that Carl brought us really strong, all those Padrones and the really strong bourbon. Yeah. That was so funny.
That was great. All right, guys. Well, today we are talking about prepping going wild, and we got Part-Time Dave on here. Some of you guys wanted to ask what's in his rucksack, what's in his other sacks that he carries with himself that is not attached to him.
Wait, what kind of going wild show is this?
We're gonna talk about is it possible to prep without being crazy? I mean, a lot of us probably know some preppers and so on and so forth, and I think there's a difference between prepping and being prepared. And I wanted you to bring some light to that, Dave. So go ahead and shoot.
First and foremost, I want to get this out of the air. There's a difference. A lot of people who prep and stuff like that, they compare themselves to soldiers. You are never going to prep like a soldier. You're not going to have gear like a soldier. You're not going to be having a rucksack like a soldier because you are a civilian. All their gear is given to them by their government, backed by training. So with
that's
that
a
being,
good word, bro.
So
that's a good word.
With that
for the
being
pretenders
said,
out there, for the pretenders,
you got these guys who like to be called tactical. You know, they buy all the latest stuff and gizmos and stuff like that, dude. And they train. And good for you on training. That is awesome. That is a strong skill to have.
Tactical guys. Yeah.
But realistically, for the average person who's a civilian, like what type of stuff can they have? And I'll give you an example of some of the things I carry. I'm a very avid backpack hunter. I spend quite a bit of time out in the backcountry, mostly by myself. But currently, I'm going to be taking this goober right here next to me, JB. But yeah, basic stuff to have as a civilian. Mm-hmm. You know, first and foremost, a pack. You need a pack. You need a good pack.
What's a pack? Give me an example of a pack.
So something that can carry at least like 3 days worth of gear.
Okay.
So basic survival gear. So when you think about like prepping, people have stuff that you can prep at home where you have food, water, shelter already there. But say something happens where you guys have to leave in a rush. Usually they call it a bug out bag, or shit hits the fan bag. You might want to blur that out. Sorry, YouTube.
SHTF. SHTF. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay.
So and that's just a grab and go bag. Something happens, you need to leave suddenly. Right. Realistically, will a scenario like that ever happen on U.S. soils? I don't know. It could.
Let's hope not. I don't want that to happen.
If that happens, that is we've seen signs that is towards the end of society where people have to bug out.
We don't want that. We
definitely don't want that.
Can we agree on something? We don't want society to end.
No.
Do you agree, JB?
I mean, I don't want it to, but ultimately it's going to.
Well, of course, everything's going to end.
I accept the fact that it will, and
Yes.
it is going to.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know why Dave is so like up in my space right now. Like,
Why are you massaging my
like,
arm
I just saw
right
that was
now?
on video right there. That
it's
was
very.
You can file a claim with us, Dave, if you want. You can file a
I
claim
don't
with HR.
understand
With
the.
HR.
I don't understand the reason
man,
this
this-
video's cut like this today.
Our videos just
on.
escalate quickly.
There he is. Are you trying to pull yourself in a little bit?
Get out of there, Dave.
There we go.
There we
All
go.
right.
Is that better for you, JB?
He's still gonna be over here trying to touch me.
Do you
Though.
feel more?
I-
You were touching
you
him.
touched
dude.
me, man.
You molested Dave. I saw it on film. So did everybody else. So, can you please write down careForDave.com? Hashtag Dave, care for Dave.
Another thing people should pack is mace for situations like that
Thank
where
you, Dave.
people.
Mace. You think that's gonna stop me, dude? I eat hot peppers for breakfast.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So back to what I was thinking, like just
Yeah.
basic stuff that people need, like food, water, basic necessities, hygiene.
So speaking of hygiene, Dave, a local baker and / meat deli and / everything deli just dropped off a kind of a care package for us. We trade them cigar labels that people pull off their cigars, and they bring us some good food. JB, tell them the shout out and tell them our dog down the street from us who hooks us up every now and then. Tell them who it is.
Dude, Triple Delight Bakery, bro.
Oh, Triple Delight Bakery on Cave Creek. You definitely want to go there. Check out their goodies. Show that little thing he brought. Show the care package he gave us. This little kid. This is the best. This one needs to be in the bug out bag right here, man. Check that out. Put it in Dave's camera. Oh, look at that. Gave us a little bug out bag sampler. Come on, dude. Come on. Okay. And Dave's going to talk with his mouth full as he continues on about hygiene and why that's important in
It
the
is
bug out bag.
bomb.
So-
So this is delicious.
Yeah. What is it? What is he? What are you eating? What is it?
I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, it's a cookie. It's some kind of cookie or candy.
Yeah,
something
dude,
like
you
that.
said hygiene, bro. Why do I care about washing my butt when I'm trying to get out, dude?
So if you're ever in a situation where you actually have to use your bug out bag, you're already in a bad position. Having the basic necessities to make you feel better is very powerful to the human spirit.
Okay.
Okay.
So being able to wash your hands, wash your hair, for women have, feminine hygiene products.
Okay.
Those boost your morale. That little morale boost goes a long way.
I bet so. Yeah, I do bet so. Yeah, I bet that's probably a really, really good point that most guys won't think about.
You don't feel better the worse you smell, Dave?
I mean, I do.
I don't. No, dude. I put on deodorant and cologne before I go to the gym. 100%.
You're one of those guys?
I'm 100% one of those guys.
You're going to
Dude,
get
I
nasty and sweaty anyway.
I know, but so here the reality is I walked by somebody in the gym one time when I was like 16 years old. Dude smelled like absolute forest and good. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put on cologne and a deodorant before I go to the gym. I used to not, but then I did. And tell you what, dude, it makes a difference. I've been married 28 years.
So yes, hygiene. Here in Arizona, I think one of the biggest things, we live in a desert. What's one thing that's lacking in the desert?
Water.
Yeah.
Having a supply of water is very important. If you're ever in a situation where it does, go ahead.
What do you think about the survival straws? So like,
They
'cause
work.
we can find water somewhere and even drinking out of the
the life
toilet.
straw.
Yeah, life straw. I've got a couple
They
of
work.
those.
I've tested them out. I've used them several times.
Okay.
They do work. I haven't gotten sick. I did get sick one time for filtering water because you need to train yourself on how to filter water properly because you can get cross contamination if you do it incorrectly. And I went through that, and it's not a fun experience.
Okay.
So learning how to use your stuff when you have it is also key.
Okay.
But yeah, stocking up on water, if we're ever in a situation where we're at that point where there is no more water, we know they're going to turn off the water. Fill up your bathtub. If you have a pool, save the water in your pool.
Yeah.
Things like that, especially if you're going to stay at home.
Will those life straws filter out chlorine?
They
like
won't.
A pool?
No, not the chlorine.
No, they filter out any kind of bacteria, virus, but they don't filter out chemicals.
And
Okay.
microparticles.
Yeah, like hard metals and things like that will be filtered out, but not chlorine. Actually, is diminished by the sun.
Okay.
So eventually, a pool runs out of chlorine. That's why people have to keep adding to it. So
Sure,
if
sure.
you even just put a gallon of
So
water,
it would be better for your pool to be green, actually, at this point. You would want algae growth and stuff in the pool. That would actually probably create a more healthy water for you to drink out of.
in a sense, kind of. You don't want if you have harsh chemicals in your pool, you definitely don't want to drink that. But chlorine is not that bad for you. If you fill up like a gallon jug, leave it in the sun for like 3 hours.
Okay.
That chlorine's going to be dead in that water.
Okay. Well, let's take a station identification pause and talk about the cigars we're smoking today. JB, what are you smoking?
This was a new release from Christoph, apparently, at the PCA this year. It's it's a Nicaraguan Puro.
Okay. Okay.
So far, it's pretty good.
Did you show the people what it was?
No, I
the
didn't show
camera.
nobody nothing.
Show them what it looks like. Yeah, show them with the camera, make it look pretty. All right. Okay. They can't see it; it's blurry. But yeah, they're on Dave's. There we go. They're on Dave's. There we go. There we go.
The camera is set to autofocus specifically on like 2 strands of hairs and Dave's mustache.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I got to trim this thing.
I'm smoking a new release from Christoph called Tres Compadres. Tres Compadres, which means 3 friends. I have no idea. I have no idea what that means, but this is what it looks like.
I tried to look up the blend on it. I didn't do a super like in-depth job of trying to find it, and I don't remember what the rep said when he was here. But long story short, apparently that is one of the dude that started Christoph's friends who passed away, and he made that as kind of an homage to those 3 guys. Yeah,
it's a good cigar. I'll tell you that much. It's good. It's a medium, light to medium cigar. Not typically Christoph. This is light to medium. It's not strong in any way, shape, and form. So, but it's very good. So
yeah, I would say
impressed.
this is more medium leaning.
Okay.
You picked my cigar for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I can't really tell 100% everybody what it is at the moment because it's something that we might be working on. But I just wanted to see what you thought about it.
It is a test
What
blend.
you thought
so
about
far,
it.
I like it. I
Okay.
like it a lot.
Do you really? Okay.
Yeah, no,
okay.
it's
What's it taste
actually-
like? Tell us what it tastes like.
It has a lot of light woody notes and nuttiness to it, with a little bit of cream and like more of like almost like a little bit of spice to it, like a lot of baker spice to it.
Would you pay $10 for that cigar?
Let me finish it and I'll get back to
Okay.
you.
And so you're talking about end of the world kind of stuff. You need a bug out bag and you need to keep going. And
Yeah.
so, do you keep moving? Do you settle
I would
down
say
somewhere?
even
Do
in
you
a
find-
situation that people in Texas found themselves in, right? You're out, the power grid goes down for 3 or 4 days for
that
some
was a good
reason.
lesson for a lot. I do know a lot of people in Texas do prep, and that's a situation where you're kind of, you're hunkered down in your home already.
Yeah.
Where you have a lot of good resources there. Stockpiling food, a lot of people do that already, like canned foods, things that are non-perishable items. Those are always great to have on hand. Buckets of beans and rice. You can live off beans and rice indefinitely. That like
when COVID hit, I just want to get really close to the microphone.
okay.
When COVID hit, I bought like an 8-pound bag of rice and a ton of beans because I didn't know what was going to happen. I was told that we're going to be locked down and everything like that. I still have rice and beans from COVID.
Yeah,
I still do.
They last.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll last, and it's easy to make. You just need a little bit of water.
When I got COVID, I lost my taste buds. All I ate was rice, beans, and 2 eggs in the morning. That's all I ate in the morning.
and you look great.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Somebody's getting this swole army. No, good.
So yeah, just having like a little stockpile of food at home that's never a bad idea. We see situations where food shortages in other parts of the world, how it affects people. Here in America, we're actually very, blessed to have access to grocery stores where we can go and get food whenever we want. Mm-hmm. So when you see a sell on certain things like canned items, dried goods like beans and rice, stockpile it. Just buy a couple. You don't have to overdo it, but just have the basic necessities. It does go a long way. My parents who were in Texas who experienced that outage, they're very good because they do live in a hurricane area. So they do have like items in their house to keep up that they just keep just in case. And they said, yeah, they were fine. They were without power for about 3 days, and nothing really big happened. So situations like that, they usually blow over fairly quickly, but you just always want to have the just in case scenario stuff.
Okay. So how do you balance that with like not living in fear to where people are just, there's guys who always live in fear. There's guys that are always like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And they're always waiting for the next shoe to drop somewhere. They're always like, man, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's the end. The power grid's going to go down. Like, how do you not live in fear? I mean, to me, I feel prepared enough to be quite honest with you. And I've done quite a bit of like preparing over the last, I'd say several years, that I feel very, very good about my chances of surviving kind of a, what you call the shit hits the fan scenario.
Yeah.
I really feel like we'll be okay. And how do you do that? And then also take care of your neighbors. That's a big thing for me too, is I want to make sure my neighbors are okay.
You kind of hit the nail
too.
right on the head.
Yeah.
Those items give you that peace of mind that you're prepared. So you feel more comfortable and live in less fear knowing that, hey, just in case if anything happens, I do have these plan B, plan C, situations. And piggybacking on your neighbors, yeah, you're probably going to have people around you who aren't prepared and, they might need a little helping hand. And I know in disastrous situations, we've seen it every single time something bad happens. communities that are brought together, that makes a strong infrastructure for people in general.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So working with your neighbors, working with the community, kind of having that baseline and understanding of what everyone's situation is, it's just going to make a stronger community. It's going to give other people peace of mind to that they don't have to worry about certain things. It's always okay. So it's okay to overstock on certain things because you never know. You might have to, give a bag of rice to your neighbor who has kids and they don't have any food. And building off of that, I mean, like I said, it just brings communities, closer.
Absolutely. So let me kick you a scenario. Let me kick you a scenario, and I want to hear from each of our audience podcast participants what they would do in the scenario. All right, ready? Power grid goes down. It just went down. Everything's gone. No internet, no power grid, nothing. What do you do?
What made it go down?
A surge. I don't know. Everything's down. 5 days down. 5 days down. What do you do?
So 5 days down. I mean, most people are going to be fine. If the power's completely out, storage like your meats in your freezer need to be cooked first.
Yeah.
So I would focus on pulling things from the freezer. They're going to be defrosted anyway. Nowadays, a lot of people have the really cool coolers. Like I have a couple of Yetis, I have a couple of Canyon coolers. They'll keep ice for, my Canyon coolers will keep ice for close to, 14 days once I pack them full of ice. So utilizing those items to keep your food fresh. But yeah, I mean, I think 5 days with the power down, I don't think much is going to happen. What I fear most is crime.
Okay.
In scenarios like that, let's use New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina as an example. The minute the hurricane hit and after it passed, the power, everything was down, everything was flooded. The gangs took over within days.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So it kind of got a little chaotic. I think
weren't people shooting at the helicopters?
They were shooting at the helicopters. They were shooting at the National Guard. Dumb thing to do, by the way.
Way to go, guys.
Yeah, you just don't.
I forget the reasoning behind that, but
if they're trying to help you, don't shoot at them. But yeah, I'm more worried about crime going up. In a situation like that where things kind of advance, you kind of see the degradation of society, and the worst of people will come out.
Sure.
I know people talk about like, oh my God, all these things in Israel, terrorist attacks and stuff like that. I'm not too concerned with terrorist attacks. I do believe that they're going to happen, and it's unfortunate. It's a terrible incident.
Sure.
However, I believe my fellow Americans will commit more crime. I'm more worried about that guy kicking in my door, taking the things from us that we already have. People become desperate. People who are fearful are dangerous people.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think is so necessary to talk about, especially to be prepared, is to not live in the spirit of fear. I think if you live in the spirit of fear, what ends up happening is you get super, super paranoid about everything, every little thing, or everything that comes across the internet, because everything on the internet is true, right? Everything that comes across, the next big, shit at the fan moment or anything else like that, people are freaking out. Instead of being reasonable and rational and saying, okay, what do I have to do to prepare my family and make sure that we're safe? And then what can I do to help my community that's right next to me?
Yeah.
And if you have those conversations before something happens, which is very, very necessary, it makes you just a darn good neighbor, by the way.
It does.
To know your neighbors and to say, hey, by the way, I just want to, in case anything happens, here's my phone number, here's what's going on. And you can come over and knock on my door anytime, and, vice versa, hopefully, something like that. I think having your crew before your crisis is absolutely necessary.
And that's another thing I'll piggyback. Knowing who you can reach out to, who you can call, and who you can rely on. Friends, family members, neighbors, understanding who's there that you can give a call. Hey, I'm in this situation. Can you help me out? Yeah, absolutely. That's very important. Like I said, people who are fearful, they're dangerous people. They get desperate. They're going to do desperate things. And unfortunately, that's just human nature. But able to be calm, having that open communication with your neighbors, with your friends, having a plan in place before it gets that far is also very important too.
What percentage of people do you think actually go crazy when something like that happens? Like because when something like that happens, we don't know how long it's going to be. So when something like that happens, what percentage of people you think become irrational and just really go nuts?
I couldn't give you an exact percentage.
What's your best guess?
I'm going to say probably 35 to 45%.
That's a lot of people, dude.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to worry about.
The only reason I think that is because I can think of people on the top of my head, if a scenario happened, that they're just going to have horrible anxiety, panic attacks, and freeze up and not know what to do and just live in panic of what's going to happen next. And they're the kind of people that you need to hold their hand. You got to comfort them and be there for them. And they're just losing their mind because they're so scared of what's going to happen.
They can't move in the midst of crisis.
They can't
Yeah,
move.
they
And
can't move.
they're just kind of stuck and petrified in their own head, which, it's a terrible thing for someone to go through that. But being there for somebody and kind of, like I said, having that open communication, that shoulder to lean on, that goes a long way.
Right. Do you feel that generationally that's different within every generation?
Oh yeah,
From boomers to Gen Xers to
absolutely.
millennials down to Gen Z.
Absolutely.
How do you think every generation would actually react in those situations?
Oh man,
The boomers will be on the roof sniping.
yeah. this is like this. We're gonna get some bad comments on this, but
Okay, go ahead. Let's go.
So
get into it.
one of my favorite quotes is I forgot who said it. I'm sure you guys have heard it, but hard times create hard or tough men.
Yeah, the cycle.
Yeah, cycle.
And
Man
then
cycle. Man
good
cycle.
times create weak men. I truly believe that. I believe like right now, everyone is so fortunate enough that they can express who they are. They can do whatever they want. They're allowed to be offended by the dumbest things. I think the earliest generation right now is going to struggle. They're not going to know how to cope. I think the older generations who've lived through things like this already, who've been part of horrible situations.
When you say the earliest generation, you're talking about Gen Z. Kids are teenagers to like 20s.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm talking
yeah.
about Gen Z.
Okay.
I'm talking about and don't beat me up on this, but
I'm just telling you, say it, dude.
the people
Nobody
who grew
cares.
up on social media
dude.
and technology. I'm sorry, but it's one of those things where they have this false reality of life.
Nobody's liking my zombie pictures. What's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Here I am, fam. I'm out here and it's going crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't do that.
So it's like
They're like, I learned on TikTok I could tie ropes together like this and get down a ravine.
Yeah.
But they've never tried it before.
So I think, unfortunately, I think that generation is going to have a hard time.
It's incredibly important to absolutely work with your community and for your community. Don't be that guy who's, taking shots at your community when everything goes down. That's for sure. You want to make sure, like, hey, man, by the way, so that's why it's important to know your neighbors, which is a big thing here in Phoenix because nobody knows their neighbors here in Phoenix, right?
Nah, not really.
Yeah.
It's true. It's a big thing here in Phoenix.
Kind of going back to the generational conversation that we're having.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So you said the older generation will be probably the best prepared.
I think they're going to be the best to handle it.
Okay.
Honestly, I think any kids that grew up in the 90s, 80s are going to be fine. I mean,
we will be.
yeah.
We knew how to build tree houses and everything.
I'd say there's a mix.
But
I would
my
say
generation?
No, mine.
Oh, okay, yours. Okay.
Yeah. Because I would say
I don't
90s
think
would
so.
be where I would go. with
Okay.
my generation.
There would be a half and half probably.
That-
The millennials?
I think
Yeah.
I think it would be 70-30 or closer to like 75-25, 35. Yes, 25.
I think
Because I know a lot of my friends who grew up hunting, doing this, doing that, learned how to. We all hung outside. We built forts in the freaking woods. We played in the creek. We went fishing. We did all these things. We rode horses. We did all this stuff, right? Like,
But I don't know, man. But I think you are kind of unique to your generation, meaning like you're more of an old soul than most millennials I've met.
but
Like,
that's
you
what I'm
really
saying. I
are.
think there's
Yeah.
still a majority of my generation that did that, though. Because
Okay.
looking
All right.
back, there was very few kids that were like, nah, dude, I don't like going outside.
Okay.
Everybody wanted to go out and play ball. Everybody wanted to get on the bikes.
And that's also territorial.
Well,
that's
that's true,
Midwest.
too. That's true, too.
Midwest. Yeah, Midwest
That's
is
true,
like
too.
that. So I wonder what it would be like here in Phoenix. I mean, you grew up here, right, Dave?
I grew up here, so
Yeah.
it was like that too.
There's 10 years difference, just for the reference.
Literally everybody. There's 10 years
Yeah.
difference between Dave and I, 10 years difference between Justin and Dave. So roughly, yeah.
Yeah, so I think growing up here in Phoenix, I mean, like you have friends from school, you go to their house. I'm sure it was pretty similar to growing up there. But a lot of times, I also spent my summers in Texas with my family, with all my cousins, where we weren't even
on the farm, baby.
where we weren't even allowed in the house.
Yeah. What?
Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It was like my aunt would kick us out, and we weren't even allowed to come in. She would, if I was sitting on the couch, why are you here? Go outside and go play. Figure out something to do. So you kind of have to learn to create your own fun. That's why I say technology took a lot away, because those communication styles of how we learned how to make friends,
Yeah.
how we learned how to go to each other's houses, how we actually had to learn to talk to each other's parents.
Oh, sure.
That's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Now everything's through a text message or through
TikTok,
Facebook,
yeah.
TikTok, Instagram.
I would be curious to see what the numbers for the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and stuff like that is.
Did you guys ever do Cub Scouts or anything like that? No?
I did Royal Rangers with the church.
My dad said, "Damn it, boy, get out there in the freaking pasture and."
I did Cub Scouts for a long time, but I was never a Boy Scout, but I was Cub Scouts.
Oh no, we used to.
So we learned how to make fires and everything like that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I think just growing up more grittier. I don't know if that's a good word to describe it, but like we were outside all the time. We were getting dirty. We were getting hurt. There were no cell phones then, so you had to check in with your parents at one of your friends' house.
Yeah,
usually your friends know of your parent because that's how they would communicate. So I think this younger generation is going to struggle.
When did everybody get cable? Like, what year do you remember getting cable in your house?
85, 84.
Wow, that's pretty early, bro. That's pretty early.
Yeah, my parents we were one of the first adopters.
Do you remember how old you were?
I'm trying to think, man, because I remember for the longest time we were wrapping tinfoil on the bunny ears.
Yeah, dude.
And like trying to get better service and like moving the antennas back and forth. We even had the TV that still had the knobs where you actually had to turn it to change the channel. I remember we had, you remember those wooden box JC?
Oh yeah, dude. TV? The Kenwoods, the JVCs.
We had one of those for a long time. And I remember, man, I was already probably like out of the house when like I saw my first flat screen TV, and it wasn't even flat; it was still a tube TV. It's a screen.
Now, when you say out of the house, you mean like in the military?
Yeah, like I was gone, like before like that was even like a big thing and stuff.
So dang. So how old were you when you went into the military?
18.
Okay, so that would have been what, 2008?
No, God,
I was sorry, Dave. I tried. 98.
2000.
2000. Okay, so I would have been 10. That was about the time that my family on the farm got cable for like 6 months, and that was it.
Oh, wow.
So my whole life growing up on the farm, we never had cable.
I've had cable since it came out. We were the first adopters of cable. I saw the very first video on MTV called Video Killed the Radio Star. I remember all the old stuff.
No way. That was legit like the first one they played.
Gen Xers, you remember the Cube. Okay, we had the Cube. So I remember that was a big thing. It had it wasn't a remote control. It had a long cord that went to like the cable box actually. So and you went through little different buttons on this little long huge. It's huge. It's a huge remote control. I'll put a picture up there if I can find it. But I mean that was something that I remember. And then I had cable ever since then. So like ever since till now to this day, I've always had something outside of like
Brad living the good life, man.
Spoiled.
We always did. That's the only way you could watch TV. Like you go.
But see, you had cable, but your dad didn't let your ass watch it though.
So my parents. This is so funny because I'm now my dad's age when I was the same age or whatever. I remember like in my teens, my parents would kick us out of the house, just like, hey, go to your friend's house, something like that. That's the only time they can be alone.
Yeah.
And so like it was just you were gone from sun up to sundown.
Yep.
That street light came on, your butt better been at least halfway back.
Had to come back, you had to have dinner, and if you want to go back out and play Ghost in the Graveyard with the kids and on the block, you could do that, but you had to be in by 10, and then you had to take a shower and then go to bed. Like that was every day in the summer. Every day in the summer is exactly how it was. And then, obviously school and everything like that. But I mean, as far as my generation is concerned, I mean, we grew up watching Red Dawn. We grew up watching like different scenarios. The Goonies, things like that. So we think we can do anything, and we kind of were feral children, who kind of raised ourselves when we were first latchkey kids.
Yeah.
So I was a latchkey kid too. My parents dropped me off at daycare, if you would. So like I remember that as well because both my parents worked. So like I remember having like self-soothe. Like I never heard of like having like somebody talking to you about your feelings. I'm like, okay, I'm hurt. No one's around to see it, but it really hurts, and I probably need to like wrap what happened. So like that's kind of things that we did, and. Other parents beat us. Other parents, like, man,
they were allowed to hit us.
Oh my gosh,
they were allowed to hit us.
I got kicked out of me by somebody. I was with my buddy one time. I think I've told the story one time before. I was with my buddy Jerry, and we were with his dad, and we were in his car, and we started flicking off the car behind us. And we thought it was fun. We were probably 8 or 9 years old. And I literally, the guy behind us came out, punched, knocked on his dad's window at a stoplight and said, hey, your kids are flicking me off. You and I got a problem. And he says, there ain't any problem here. Took us to the next stoplight, turned around and slapped both Jerry and me. I mean, boom. Hit us both. Yeah. So I was like, I went back, told my mom and dad, and he's like, well, what'd you do? It wasn't a matter like the parent was wrong. It was like, well, what'd you do? I'm like,
did you deserve it?
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Were you honest with your parents when
they
asked?
If you say no,
no.
I'm going to call them.
Yeah. And then I said, no, I didn't do anything, Dad. He's like, I doubt that. I know. And he was Jerry Jr., so he's like, I know Jerry Sr. He wouldn't do it for no reason. So they played golf together. So like, at the golf course, he asked me, he goes, yeah, so I heard you learn how to use your middle finger in the back of Jerry's car. You know, I'm like, oh.
Caught.
You know,
Yeah. So,
ironically, through the conversation, we've kind of said a couple things that I kind of haven't really picked up until right now, but I was surrounded by just a ton of men in my life.
oh, yeah.
Like I was lucky enough to I still have both of my grandfathers. One of them's in his 80s, and my other grandfather's getting close to that. My dad was a police officer who knew everybody in town, whose best friend was his partner in the police department, who had a son who was my age. So like I just grew up. I had a third grandfather. His name was Ted. He was always around. So like that was another thing. I think a lot of kids that I grew up around and with, a lot of them were around a lot of different kinds of men. So like a lot of things that I learned, I didn't learn just from being around my dad or watching TV. I learned because I heard the conversations that all these men were having.
With young men, more is caught than taught.
Like when I was when I used to hang out with Grandpa at the repair shop, and guys would just come in and wait for an oil change to be done. And once I was old enough, I was the one doing the oil changes. And you know, the conversations that I would hear those guys talk with, and the guys that my grandfather had built relationships with over 50 years of owning this business, that would come in and have conversations, and the different walks of life. And man, you take for granted how much you really overlook that you're so blessed to have. There's so much I could have probably learned even more that I wasn't. You just don't understand. You don't know what you're learning.
Oh yeah, dude, 100%.
No, I agree with you there. I feel like, yeah, as a kid growing up, there were a lot more men in my life.
Yeah.
Like you had your friends' fathers that were there.
Yeah.
All of them had different types of jobs.
I had maybe 3 or 4 friends off the top of my hand that I can count right now that didn't have a father figure in their life when I went over, and that you weren't scared of getting pissed off that you guys were doing something bad.
And you had that respect naturally. Like when you walked into someone else's house, you just
You're
had
like,
that natural
is your dad
respect.
home? No,
Yeah.
Dad's not home. We're good. We can hang out for a little bit. Then Dad comes home and he's like, all right, dude, we got to go outside.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. That's 100% accurate.
We got to turn off the TV.
it
Dad's
really
home.
is.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
So we have 3 generations here, and how 3 people would react. What do you think about the generation that isn't represented, which is like the Gen Z? That's like my kids' generation, right?
I think that's.
What do you think is going to happen with them?
I think that's hit or
Like
miss.
in a scenario where you get the go bag, and you know it's a shit of the fan type thing. So what do you think about that?
I'm going to use my kid as an example. I've raised.
Oh, yeah. He's what, 18, 19?
He's 18. So I've raised my kid like I am, like an outdoorsman. He knows how to camp. He knows how to hunt. He knows how to fish. He has all the outdoor gear you could ever imagine. He knows how to make fire. He knows all these basic life skills, but he also knows how to socialize with people correctly. Like one of the first things I taught my kid was how to shake a man's hand.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
The proper
Absolutely.
way, how to shake a hand, how to make that eye contact, you know, and when he shakes hand, he looks you dead in the eye, he'll shake your hand. But then again, he still has that tech brain where he still knows how to use all the social media. He loves playing Xbox and gaming, which I do too. I think we all do. But he's different, and I think, and that's why I say it's going to be hit or miss with that generation.
Oh yeah, so my kids raised, and I think when you, yeah, because we both have kids that are similar age. Cam's 20, your kid's 18.
Yeah, he's going to be 19 soon.
Okay, so with my son, I think their hearts are bigger than their minds a lot of times. That's my thing. So their hearts are bigger than their minds. So I wonder how that'll affect them as a community, like as a generation. Like, man, something like that happens, and they're like, what do we do? So, my son, I think, can take care of himself. I don't think it's going to be a big deal whatsoever for him if he had to do what he had to do to survive. I don't think that's going to be a big. He was doing that when he was like 6 years old. Believe it or not. He would always camp, and he would make his own shelters and everything else like that when he was little.
If we dropped both your sons off in the middle of like where me and you, like places me and you want to go, like let's say 5 miles in, and we're like, all right, we're going to come pick you up in 3 days. We don't give them any food. You know, they get water. Do you think that they would be able to like hunt?
Oh yeah, they'd be fine.
Start fires and get out.
Yeah.
Cut the animal up and actually like make meat out of it and things like that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
My kid will straight cowboy.
I don't know Cam that well as far as that goes.
I think Cam could do that.
That's why I wanted to ask.
I think Cam would lean heavily on Dave's son, to be honest with you, as far as the cooking.
But he
and
wouldn't
the
have a
cleaning.
problem doing it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would definitely do it.
And that's why I say it's hit or miss, because I've seen kids their age that are the exact opposite.
Yeah.
They complain about everything. They want everything. It's weird.
So the reason I asked you guys that is because, like, from my personal experience, like if I was thrown out into like, so me and Dave are gonna go do a javelina hunt, hopefully in
February.
In February.
Dave and I. Go ahead.
So yeah, I don't care.
That's true. Yeah, we've seen that already on video multiple times.
If I was like in a situation where Dave couldn't go or he got sick and he had to like get out or something like that, and I had to skin a javelina by myself, I'm sure that I would figure it out, minus the fact that they have like some weird glands that I'm not real familiar with.
Yeah.
But I've never properly been like shown how to skin a bigger animal. Like I could do rabbit, I could do like birds and stuff like that, but smaller animals. But I've never done anything like a deer or anything bigger like that. Personally, I've seen people do it, but I've never done it, right? But I could probably figure it out if I was in the situation. And I think I think your kids would be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I think most people can. If they're put in a situation where, you know, it's survive or die, you're going to put things together and kind of figure it out. And you have to. You have no choice.
I don't like that face. Brad ain't acting like Cam's going to do it.
I just remember field dressing my first deer, and I was like, this is gross.
It is. It's very
and
gross.
A lot of people don't understand.
And the javelina's going to stink so bad,
Yeah,
dude.
they do. They call them
my
stink
God,
bits. But a lot of
dude.
people don't understand, like, the real work begins once you get the animal down. That's when the work, like, really starts. So...
The fun part is eating the meat that you got, and knowing that you got it
It's
yourself and everything
gratifying.
like that. It's very gratifying. The hard part is after it's down, you have to clean everything you just shot, you know, or you know, it really is. So
Well, that's like we found that black bear, or I found that black bear right before bear season opened up.
Oh, yeah, in that
and you
cave.
were like, dude, there's a bear down there, and you were like, dude, people will pay you so much money to go get that bear.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am not gonna eat it. I don't know if I want to.
I would.
I don't know if I want to go kill a bear. I'm not gonna eat the meat because I don't want to kill something if I can't eat it unless it's a person.
not that you would eat a person is what you're trying to say, right?
But people aren't innocent. Animals are.
Okay.
Okay. Wait,
Semi right.
Cannibal
Semi-right,
JB over
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I didn't say I was gonna eat a person.
Yeah. I just
I said that's the only thing
Fried
I'm
green
okay with
tomatoes over
killing
there.
that I'm not gonna eat. Soylent Green coming
so,
soon.
So generationally, you think the older generation, the older you are, typically the better prepared you'll be,
I
even
think
though
so.
you're not as mobile, probably.
Well, even just the wisdom.
You know,
Yeah,
I think that's a big one, because when stuff gets really, really high pressured, usually guys who are older tend to keep it together a little easier. You know, and I've seen that with other guys. I mean, how old is Jacko Williams? He's got to be like 50.
The
like
Navy
40
SEAL?
Yeah, Navy SEAL, 50 years old.
He's up there.
Yeah, so I mean, as a result, I mean, he's been through war. I mean, a lot of these guys who are veterans have been through war, yourself included, Dave. I mean, when stuff hits a fan, you become situationally aware a lot quicker than other guys do.
Yeah, and that's why at the beginning I said, like, don't compare yourself to a soldier.
Yeah, like
It's
what was the youngest like officer that you served under? Not counting like a private first class or like, you know, like an
You're talking
actual
about, like,
officer.
a lieutenant, like a first
Yeah,
lieutenant.
yeah,
second
yeah,
lieutenant. Probably pretty young, like 26, 27.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm actually really surprised by that.
Well, because if they go to college and go through officer school, they actually enlist as that.
Yeah, they go to OCS. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so-
my brother-in-law did that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they just, you know, got a little bit of education, a head start than most of them.
So like who? That's interesting, bro. So like the head of a unit would be that young?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, we want to hear from you guys. What is your thought process when it comes to, you know, the crap hitting the fan scenarios, and what would you do? And what do you think the generations would do? You know, we're not here to instill fear in anything whatsoever, but we are here to make sure that you're prepared like any good man should be for his family. So drop a comment below and let us know about your scenarios, and what scenarios do you see coming down the line that you definitely need to prep for, and put down your favorite prepping bag items down in the comments below. So for the Cut Light and Smoke podcast, this has been Part-Time Dave. I've been Bradley, and JB is on the soundboard on the side panel saying goodbye and God bless.
Peace. That LT, by the way.